With over 1,000 pickaxes now in Fortnite, today guys, we need to look at the 50 best pickaxes in Fortnite for Chapter 2 Remix. These are going to be some of the sweatiest pickaxes in the game, some of the best looking pickaxes, and of course some pickaxes that you guys have never heard of before. So make sure you watch this entire video and let me know in the comments down below what pickaxe you are using today. Make sure as well to watch this entire video because I guarantee you guys have not been using the number 3 pickaxe. But let's just get straight into it, and we have to start off with the bomb bouquet. Now this is actually one of the more interesting pickaxes that we do have this season. It was for the secret battle pass skin that we had, which was Dynamo TNTina, so I actually think this pickaxe is really clean. It is obviously very different to a lot of other pickaxes that we have. It does have a single hand animation, so it is quite different to the single hand style pickaxes that we do have in Fortnite, but I feel like what makes this even better as well is that we have had a few other pickaxes like this, but I don't think any pickaxes have really had the design that this has. That just makes it so much better in my opinion. But we need to move on guys to the next pickaxe, and this is the Giant Nutcracker. Now I don't know that the Giant Nutcracker is going to be the most popular pickaxe that we see, but I just feel like this has to be one of the best looking pickaxes in the game, and of course one of the best cell shaded pickaxes as well. We don't really see too many people using cell shaded pickaxes because they are so different and they do make you stand out so much, but I am just such a big fan of this. I just feel like the potential for these are incredible, and there is no way that we could see some cell shaded pickaxes better than this. I'm definitely going to be using this a bunch throughout the season, but we need to move on to Mumi's Sword. This might be a little bit better than some of the other cell shaded pickaxes that we will be talking about a little bit later on. I feel like what is so clean about this is that it is going to work in with every single skin in your locker. A lot of cell shaded pickaxes are so big and bulky that they aren't necessarily going to work in with everything that you have in the game, so I feel like with something like Mumi's Sword actually being able to work with most skins, it just makes it even better. Still though, Mumi doesn't really return to the store that often, so Mumi's Sword is only becoming more rare. But next up guys is the Splinter Staff. We have definitely talked about a lot of crossover pickaxes so far in this video, but I promise we will talk about some other regular designed ones very soon. I really like this a lot. I feel like this pickaxe would have to be one of the best. We have also seen a lot of other pros and streamers using this as well, which is only going to make this pickaxe even better. I feel like Clicks has been using this a bunch. It does have a very simplistic color style as well, meaning it can work in with pretty much every skin that you have in your locker. That takes us forward guys, and next up we have the core cutters. Now I'm a big fan of the core cutters. I feel like they are of course some of the most underrated pickaxes that we have in the game, just because I feel like people do prefer to use the single-handed pickaxes in Fortnite, or at least the default styled pickaxes that we have, as opposed to collab pickaxes or the dual wielding pickaxes. The core cutters though are some of the cleanest ones that we have. I really like the design of these. Obviously they are quite small and simplistic, so they work in with a lot of different skins, which just makes these even better. But something like Weapon X's claws are probably a little bit more unique and might not work in with the same amount of skins as the core cutters. Still though, I think this is really clean. We obviously did just have a Marvel season as well, so these have been quite popular in the past, and as we move forward into Chapter 6, I feel like a lot of people could start using these other collab pickaxes once again, and the Weapon X claws is something that I have used in the past, and can definitely tell you guys that these are some of the coolest looking Marvel pickaxes that we have. I feel like the Marvel pickaxes in the past have definitely been better than some of the other collab skins and pickaxes that we have seen, but we need to move on to Hawkmans Maze, which is actually part of the DC universe, and definitely one of the most underrated ones. We never really see too many DC items being added back to the game anymore. They are definitely some of the more underrated ones that we have actually seen, but that doesn't mean that these are bad at all. I actually really like Hawkmans Maze a lot. The design for this is a single-handed pickaxe. It does have a custom animation as well, which is really clean and just makes this even better. But again, we don't see DC items returning that often, so these are only going to get more rare in the future. That takes us forward guys to the number 43 position, and we have the Bad Joke. This is actually another DC pickaxe that we just had to include. This actually came to the game with the Last Laugh bundle though, so that was back during Chapter 2 Season 4, and since we are in Chapter 2 Remix, I thought we just had to include it. The design for this is really clean though. I like the way this looks a lot, and unfortunately just because this was included in a bundle it never really got the recognition that it deserved, and especially with this bundle being quite expensive, that just made it even worse. I'm still a big fan of this though, and this is going to be perfect for all of the meme players. So even though we have talked about a lot of tryhard pickaxes so far, this is still one that I feel like you guys should be using. One pickaxe that meme players probably won't be using though is going to be the Brilliant Cutters. These were just added to Fortnite again in Chapter 5 Season 4. These were part of the Marvel season, and actually the pickaxe is designed for Emma Frost. They have this really cool diamond or crystal theme to them, which is so sick. I feel like this is only going to make these even better in the future, but it does sort of limit the amount of skins that you can pair this with. Honestly, I would just use these with Emma Frost or maybe some of the other bright and colorful skins like ISO, but apart from that, I feel like these aren't really going to work in with every single skin in your locker. I guess the same could be said for our next pickaxe as well, which is the Epic Blade of Floof. Yes guys, this is one of the newest pickaxes in the game, and this was just added for the Undercover Sky skin. I really like this pickaxe though. It was sort of a combination of two pickaxes being merged into one, which is very similar to the theme of this skin, because this skin is pretty much the exact same. I really like this though. I feel like it is going to be one of the more underrated battle pass skins that we do see in Chapter 2 Remix though, just because this season is so short, and we do have some other really good items and pickaxes in this battle pass that we will be talking about very soon. Before that though, we need to mention the Omni Claw. Now this is probably one of the more unique and strange pickaxes we're going to be talking about in this entire video. It was added in Chapter 5 Season 4, and this came with the Incredibles collab. I'm a big fan of the Incredibles. I used to watch this movie all the time, so I just feel like we had to include it in this video. They probably could have designed some cooler pickaxes for the Incredibles franchise, but it does get me excited about Chapter 6 to see what other franchises from the Disney universe are going to be added to Fortnite. So if you guys are excited for that as well, then make sure to let me know in the comments down below. One series of items that are really rare though are the Icon series, so I feel like we need to talk about the Moon Flame. This has definitely been one of the rarest items we have seen in a while. Obviously this came with the Rubia skin, and the Icon series skins never really become that popular anymore, but I feel like this pickaxe was really clean and definitely deserves to be featured in this video. It is probably unlucky to not be finishing up higher as well. We do have a lot of other katanas though, so that might be holding it back just a little bit, but I'm still a really big fan of this. I love the way it looks, and I feel like there is so much potential for like this moving forward. That takes us forward guys to the number 38 position, and we have the Stun Rod. The Stun Rod is another collab pickaxe that we have in Fortnite. This is definitely one of the cleanest looking pickaxes that we have in the game, and again it is one of those single-handed pickaxes that has so much potential moving forward. It has just been really underrated at the moment. I feel like that is probably the major downside as to why not that many people have been using this. I've talked about it so many times though, because I really do think this is one of the best pickaxes that we have actually seen, and until it gains more popularity, it is always going to be one of those underrated pickaxes. I mean, it just doesn't feature in the store that often, which is definitely holding it back, but again, I still feel like we had to include it. One pickaxe that has actually been quite popular is going to be Gohan's Beast Blade. We have already talked about some other cell shaded pickaxes in this video, but Gohan's Beast Blade has to be one of the smallest that we have seen, and definitely one of the more unique designed ones as well, so that is why we had to include it. It just looks really sick. This is definitely going to fit in with a bunch of anime themed skins, but maybe not too many regular designed Fortnite skins, limiting the amount of skins and combos that you can actually make with this. Still though, I think we had to include it, but maybe a little bit lower. But if you guys have been using this a bunch, then make sure to let me know, because it is finally time guys that we move on to the number 36 position, and we have the Gold Crow. We're going to be talking about a lot more regular design Fortnite pickaxes in this video, and the Gold Crow has to be one of the best. You can actually pick this up for 1,200 V-Bucks. You do get it in a bundle though, which might seem a little bit odd until you realize that you do actually get 2 other pickaxes for this. I feel like that is so cool. It would have been cool if the crowbars were all just sort of one pickaxe designed together, but unfortunately Fortnite decided to add 3 different crowbars to the game, which is probably one of the major reasons why this isn't really that popular anymore. One pickaxe that has actually been quite popular though has to be the Spiked Batten Maze. Now this is definitely one of the cleanest looking battle pass pickaxes from this season. It reminds me a lot of the Riot Control Batten that we had with the Star Wars collab during Chapter 2 Season 1, so it is really cool to see this being added back during Chapter 2 Remix. The design for this is quite unique as well. We we haven't really seen too many people using pickaxes this well designed. So if you guys are a fan of this, then I definitely recommend picking up this battle pass before this season is done, because chapter 6 is just around the corner. But we need to move on to the number 34 position, and we have Lucky. Now Lucky is definitely one of my all-time favorite pickaxes. I just feel like this has been so good for such a long time, and considering this has been in the game pretty much from the very beginning in chapter 1 season 1, I feel like we just had to include it. You can pick it up for 500 V-Bucks, so it is very affordable. We don't really see too many other pickaxes since chapter 1 season 1 staying this popular or tryhard for this long, so I feel like that shows you guys how good it actually is. But if you do want to use something a little bit newer, then you can of course use something like the Hotdogger. This is actually quite similar to a few of the other pickaxes we have already talked about, like the Stun Rod, but the Hotdogger has been a little bit more popular. I'm still a big fan of this. It doesn't really feature in the store that often though, because again, it is one of those collab pickaxes, but it is going to work in with a bunch of different skins, just making this really, really sick. It is sort of a flaming pickaxe as well. I feel like we don't really have too many pickaxes that have that red theme to it, so it is really cool to see this being added to Fortnite. But if you do want something with a little bit more of a simplistic design, then the butterfly knives might be better for you. Even though these are dual wielded pickaxes, they are some of the smallest in the game with barely any color or design to them, which means you guys can pretty much use this with any single skin that you own. It doesn't matter whether it is a meme skin, a tryhard skin, or just a casual skin, chances are it is going to look good with this pickaxe. That is definitely one of the main reasons why this has been quite popular in the past, but we may as well move on to the Skully Scepter, which I feel like has a very similar feature. I mean, this has such a simplistic design. It is basically a Halloween style of the Star Wand, but luckily it does feature in the store all the time. Usually a lot of Halloween or Fortnite Maze items only feature in the store once or twice a year, but the Skully Scepter seems to feature every single month. This is really good and definitely really cheap as well, coming in at only 500 V-Bucks, meaning it is perfect for you guys to buy today. If you guys do want something that is a little bit more unique though, then the Virro Axe might be the best pickaxe for you. This is actually added with the Star Wars franchise, and we don't really see too many Star Wars items being popular at all. That includes both pickaxes and skins, but I just feel like the Virro Axe has been quite good because this doesn't really look like a Star Wars item. I mean, it looks really simplistic. It looks like just a black wooden stick, which is obviously going to work in with a bunch of different skins. And obviously, if you don't own this, you can always swap it out for something like Raised Quarterstaff, and that is also going to be a good option. That takes us further to the number 29 position, and we have the TVA Time Stick. This was one pickaxe that was added to the game to celebrate the Loki TV show, and when season 2 of Loki was released, we actually had another collab with the Loki franchise, which introduced Sylvie to the game, and of course the TVA Time Stick as well. I really like the TVA Time Stick. I feel like it is one of the coolest looking pickaxes that we have, especially for a single-handed pickaxe with a custom animation, so it is definitely going to stand out a lot. And if you guys are looking for a pickaxe to use that no one else has really been using, then this might be a really good option. It's time though that we move on to arguably the best pickaxe Fortnite has ever designed, and this is the Star Wand. Now I would love to be including this a lot higher in this video, but I feel like the major reason why we are including it so low is because this has just been in the game for such a long time. I mean, people have started to use other pickaxes just because they use this for like 4 years straight, and that is definitely what happens when you have a bunch of items from Chapter 1 Season 8 that are still really popular today. There is no doubt this is still one of the best pickaxes we have ever seen. I mean, so many people love this a lot, and I feel like it is going to be one of the best pickaxes Fortnite has ever designed, but we have just seen so many people using it in the past that it has started to drop off, and the exact same can be said for the Vision. These also cost 800 V-Bucks. It is one of the biggest meme pickaxes that I feel like we have ever seen though, so if you guys are a fan of the more tryhard and I guess meme pickaxes at the same time, then this is going to be one of the best ones for you to use. This is really unique. I feel like we don't really see too many other pickaxes like this in Fortnite anymore, which really does suck. But that takes us forward, guys, to the number 26 position, and we have Raised Quarterstaff. We did talk about this a little bit earlier on, but Raised Quarterstaff is definitely one of the cleanest pickaxes that has been added from the Star Wars franchise. It does sort of look like a Star Wars pickaxe, but again, if you aren't really a fan of the Star Wars franchise, you probably didn't even know this exists. I really like this a lot though. It is one of my favorite pickaxes that we have in the game, mostly because it is going to work in with every single skin and item that you do actually own, so you can make some really cool combos with this. That takes us forward, guys, to the the number 25 position, and we have the Gilded Pincher. This is actually the ranked pickaxe in Chapter 2 Remix. Now, I'm really surprised they added in a Chapter 2 Remix ranked reward pickaxe, but this is quite cool. There are a lot of pickaxes that have been added to the game this season that do have that golden theme, and this is no exception. I really do like this though. I feel like this looks quite clean, and he's only going to get better in the future as well, because these probably won't be added back to the store anytime soon. So if you are lucky enough to own this, then you probably own one of the rarest pickaxes in the game, and if you don't have this yet, then you only have a few more days to get it. One pickaxe that will definitely feature in the store in the future though has to be the Joker's Revenge. We talked about the bad joke earlier, and this is the second pickaxe that was added to the game with the Last Laugh bundle. We have talked about this quite a bit because the Last Laugh bundle is one of my personal favorite bundles that we have seen in Fortnite, and I just feel like this is such good value considering how many items and rewards you actually get. The Joker's Revenge though is a lot more tryhard than the bad joke. This isn't really a meme pickaxe either, so it might be suited for more of the tryhard players, and it does have a really cool color theme that we haven't really seen before, with the purple and golden effects being placed throughout this pickaxe. It is really cool, and I still feel like it is quite unique being able to work with most skins in your locker, but Jack's colors and Bane might be a more popular choice. This was actually added with the Pirates of the Caribbean collab that we saw during Chapter 5 Season 3. This was probably unexpected. I never thought Fortnite would actually collaborate with Pirates of the Caribbean, but it was quite cool seeing this in the mini seasonal pass. We don't know if this is going to return though, because this again was part of that mini pass. You did have to complete some challenges in order to unlock these items, but if you did, you definitely have some of the coolest items in the game. This is really simplistic. It is a dual wielding pickaxe as well, but again, the color theme for this is so simplistic that it is going to work with pretty much everything in your locker. Something that is going to be a little bit more unique though is actually going to be the Spectral Axe. Even though this pickaxe is really clean, I actually feel like this is more suited to the brightly and more highly customizable skins that we have, like the superhero skins or even ISO. I mean, this just has so many bright colors to it that I feel like if you are going to be using it with something like Siren, then maybe it won't fit in absolutely perfectly, but if you are using it with something like the superhero skins or ISO, then it is definitely going to be really clean. It just looks so good. I am always going to be a big fan of pickaxes like this, but I know that a lot of you guys might just prefer to use some of the newest items that we have, and that is why the chainsaw had to feature in this video. Now, the chainsaw is definitely one of the coolest pickaxes that we have seen, and it was introduced last season as well, which just makes this even cooler. I've been a big fan of this for a long time. We don't really see too many other pickaxes being designed like this either, and it actually came with the Leatherface skin, which was quite cool. Obviously, I like this because it was similar to the chainsaw item that you could use as a weapon last season. It doesn't seem like this is going to be added back though, because obviously that was just added for the Fortnite Maze update, but it would have been cool to see this actually staying in Fortnite for a lot longer. Because this was just added for the Fortnite Maze update though, it probably means it won't be featuring in the store anytime soon, so we may as well move on to the Ebonheart Battle Axe. This actually could be featuring in the store very soon, and for a lot of you guys that missed out on buying the Leviathan Axe, this is the perfect other option. This is so sick. I feel like we have seen a lot of people using the Leviathan Axe because it is so iconic, but again, this has really only featured in the store once or twice, with not that many people actually being able to get it, and if that is you, then I feel like what is going to be even better is actually going to be something like the Ebonheart Battle Axe. It does also have a default swinging animation, which a lot of people are going to prefer, but again, there are definitely going to be some other pickaxes in Fortnite that people prefer even more, like the trusty number 2. I mean, we just had to include it in this video. This was part of the Chapter 1 Season 3 Battle Pass that we had, which was one of the most iconic Battle Passes in the history of the game. I love this so much. This pickaxe is so perfect and still one of the best that we have ever seen as well, and I just hope we do get some other pickaxes added like this in the future. I mean, there have been a lot of collabs with the John Wick franchise, but no pickaxe is ever going to come close to how cool the trusty number 2 actually is. Let's move on, guys, to Yoda's Kane. Now, we have talked about a few Star Wars pickaxes already, but Yoda's Kane would have to be the best. This was also one of the most recent ones introduced, being added in Chapter 5 Season 3. I feel like a lot of pros and streamers have been using Yoda Kane because it doesn't really look like a Star Wars item. I mean, it just basically looks like a stick that has definitely been one of the coolest pickaxes in Fortnite. A lot of people have been loving this a lot because it's going to work with every single skin that you have. So even if you are not a fan of Star Wars and just want to use a pickaxe that everyone is going to love, then this obviously is the perfect choice. You could always swap this out though and use something like the Widow's Bite instead if you did want a pickaxe that was a little bit bigger. I still like this as well. I feel like this has been quite a good pickaxe in Chapter 5 and of course Chapter 2 Remix as well, but this was actually one of the rarest Marvel pickaxes that we had ever seen because it only featured in the store once all the way back during Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3 and Chapter 4, but in Season OG we actually saw this featuring in the store once again. Let's move on though to another pickaxe that was actually introduced during Chapter 1 Season 8, and this is the Sted Axe. This might be one of the most iconic pickaxes in the history of the game because people think this actually grants a competitive advantage. It makes less sound than every other pickaxe in Fortnite, which is why so many pros and streamers use it. We honestly have no idea if this is actually the case, but for that reason alone, so many people have been using it pretty much since it was introduced during Chapter 1, and I just feel like that is so cool today, now with Chapter 6 just around the corner. One pickaxe though that might be even more popular than this has to be the Driver. Even though this may not grant a competitive advantage, this has to be one of the best pickaxes in the history of the game, and I don't think Fortnite would have ever imagined this got the popularity that it actually has. I mean, it is just so crazy how good this is for a golf stick pickaxe. To just be this good is so crazy. You can pick it up for 500 V-Bucks as well, making it even better. But that takes us forward, guys, to the number 14 position, and we have the Reaper. Now, I am obviously a big fan of the Reaper. I've talked about this on my channel a bunch, but I just love the way this looks. It has to be one of the best pickaxes in the history of the game. It could have been one of the rarest pickaxes that we had as well, but Fortnite decided to add this back after only 1 year of it being an exclusive pickaxe. We also could have seen some rare and exclusive edit styles being added for this, like we saw with the Skull Trooper and the Ghoul Trooper, but unfortunately that never happened. That definitely would have made it one of the best pickaxes of all time. If it did have a glowing rainbow or a purple effect, then I feel like so many people would still be using this today. Let's move on, guys, and next up we have Catwoman's Grappling Claw. Now, this may not have as iconic of a design as the Reaper, but Catwoman's Grappling Claw has to be one of the best DC pickaxes that has been introduced. I feel like with Catwoman also becoming a lot more popular, a lot of people have started to use the pickaxe that was designed for Catwoman 0, and that is Catwoman's Grappling Claw. This is quite clean. I feel like the design for it probably lets it down a little bit though because it is so big and bulky, but regardless, this is one of the coolest pickaxes that has been added to the game. Let's move on, guys, to the number 12 position, and we have the Icebreaker. We've talked about a lot of OG pickaxes in this video, but the Icebreaker would have to be one of the best. It also comes in at 500 V-Bucks, was introduced back during Chapter 1 Season 1, so the fact that it is still popular today with Chapter 6 just around the corner is honestly insane. I would love to see some other color styles for it, but I just don't think it's going to happen because we haven't had any styles added for the Candyx, which was also introduced during this season. This might be a little bit better in my opinion. I just feel like this is so expensive, and that is really holding it back from being one of the best pickaxes that we do see. I mean, we did get the Merry Mint, which I guess you could say is an edit style for the Candyx because it did change around the color of this, but I just feel like nothing really compares to the original pickaxe. That takes us forward, guys, to the number 10 position, and we have the Combat Q. This is actually one of the newest pickaxes in the game and is designed for the 1-bolt skin. I really like this. I didn't actually think we would be getting a remake of skins again in Chapter 2 Remix. I thought they would try and remake some of the most OG Chapter 2 skins, but I never expected 8-bolt to be one of them. 1-bolt does look really clean though. The Combat Q is a really clean pickaxe as well, but I just feel like there have been some other pickaxes this season alone that have been a lot more popular, which is definitely holding this back. Still though, it is quite clean and definitely worth buying for only 950 V-Bucks. But next up, guys, we have the Wicks Katana. We did talk about John Wick quite a little bit earlier on, but this has to be one of the best pickaxes that was designed for a collab skin. This katana not only costs 500 V-Bucks, making it one of the cheapest in the game, but it is also really clean and is going to work with all of your favorite skins. I feel like this would have to be the best katana that we have, but obviously if you guys do have some of the other katanas and you don't really want to use use Wicks katana, then you can always use them instead. I'm just including this because this is a pickaxe I've been using a bunch, and I know a lot of you guys have been as well. But that takes us forward, guys, to the number 8 position, and we have the Harley Hitter. There is no doubt the Harley Hitter is one of my favorite pickaxes that we have seen. This has to be so sick, and definitely one of the best pickaxes Fortnite has ever designed. It just doesn't feature in the store that often. I feel like that is a common theme with these DC pickaxes and DC items, but of course I feel like if they did return to the store a lot more, then so many people would be using them today because they are so well designed. Luckily though, one pickaxe that has just returned that is actually going to be a Fortnite Maze pickaxe is the Slasher. This was designed for the Michael Myers skin, one of the coolest and I feel like best Fortnite Maze skins that have been added to the game. The Slasher pickaxe is one of the smallest pickaxes in the history of Fortnite, and I just feel like that makes it so unique. For only 500 V-Bucks as well, it is definitely worth buying, considering a lot of these collab pickaxes are really expensive, but again, this probably won't be returning to the store for quite a while. Let's move on, guys, to the number 6 position, and we have the Vault Guardian. This is by far one of the best pickaxes Fortnite has ever designed. Again, it is basically a reskin of the Gold Crow that we talked about earlier on, just with a slightly different color theme. Instead of it being entirely golden, this is now a gold and silver design. In my opinion, that makes it even better, but I definitely understand why some people might think this is actually a downgrade and has made it a lot worse. It is still one of my favorite all-time pickaxes. Whenever I am designing new combos as well, this is one of the pickaxes that I always make sure to try out, just because I feel like this works in with every single item that you have in your locker. That takes us forward, guys, to the number 5 position, and we have the Spiralized Slicer. This is the pickaxe designed for Billy. We did talk about obviously some other pickaxes designed for Fortnite Maze earlier on, but I really like this because I feel like Billy was such an unexpected collab, and the skin design was actually really good. This looks so clean. It is going to be one of the more interesting pickaxes as well, because I'm so excited to see if this does stay popular or drop off as we move into Chapter 6. I feel like this has so much potential. It honestly could be one of the best pickaxes that we see as well, but I just don't know how many people ended up buying this over the last few weeks. Since this is a Fortnite Maze item, it looks like it won't be added back for quite a while. That takes us forward, guys, to the number 4 position, and we have the Axe of Champions 2.0. Now, if I had have recorded this video a few weeks ago, then I feel like this would have been in at the number 1 position because of how iconic it is, but I feel like a lot of people have started to use some of the other pickaxes that we have just because it has been in the game now for a few weeks. This is still really good though, so if you guys have been using it, I don't want you to think that this is a bad pickaxe because it is actually really clean and definitely worth using and buying if you don't already have it. But that takes us forward to the number 3 position, and we have the Golden Scythe. I'm a big fan of this. This is also just added to the game in the Battle Pass. This is actually designed for the Meowder skin, which is so cool. It is probably one of the more iconic skins that was added this season, just making it even better. So if you guys do like the way this looks, make sure to pick up this Battle Pass before this season has finished. But we need to move on to the number 2 position, and we have the Fiendish Wand. This is a remake of the style wand, but for the Fortnite Maze update. Hopefully this does return to the store as well. You could actually unlock this for free by completing the Fortnite Maze challenges, but if you guys didn't really play Fortnite too much or are now just starting to play Fortnite again, because we have had Chapter 2 remix and then of course Chapter 6 just announced as well, then hopefully you do have another opportunity soon, because I feel like this is so clean, and if you guys did miss out on it, then it would be really unfortunate. But unfortunately it isn't good enough to be coming in at the number 1 position just yet, because we have to include the Leviath Axe. There is no doubt this is the best pickaxe we have ever seen in Fortnite. It does cost quite a bit though, coming in at 1,000 V-Bucks, but it has really only featured in the store a few times since Chapter 2 Season 5, so for it to still be the best pickaxe in the game, you guys should really see how good this actually is. I mean, it has to be one of the best pickaxes Fortnite has ever designed, and I just don't think that is going to be changing anytime soon. I also don't think this is going to be added back to the store, but a lot of people do, so if you guys have missed out on it, then hopefully it does get added back soon. But there you guys go, that is my entire video for the 50 best pickaxes in Chapter 2 Remix, and of course Chapter 6 as well. Let me know what you guys have been using, and I'll see you all in the next video.